Hello, everybody, and welcome back again to Divorce Stories. We're at episode number 13, and I'm your host, divorce attorney Dennis Vetrano. So today we're going to tackle a topic, I'm not sure how people feel about this, but I have to be honest with you. I have a wealth of information on this topic, so I hope you guys enjoy it. These are my 10 best pieces of marriage advice from a divorce attorney. Let's get right into it, and let's start with number 1. I think it starts with choosing the right partner. So if you've ever heard that advice, choose with your head, not with your heart. And here's where that comes from. Take a look at what the leading causes for divorce are. Stuff like religion, child rearing, money, education. So when you choose somebody to partner up with or somebody you want to have a long-term relationship and maybe eventually possibly marry, pick someone where you have a meeting of the minds. You share views on philosophical issues, large issues, similar education, religion jibes, what you want out of life, money, education, those sorts of things. So again, always choose with your head, not with your heart first. Number 2, understand that you are accepting this person just as they are and hoping they accept you just as you are. You can't go into a relationship thinking you're going to change people. And bear in mind, you're not perfect and neither are they. They may be interested in some different things, and that's okay. You're not always going to be happy with the things that they do, but you always need to be happy with who they are. And bear in mind, what makes relationships great are the differences. So understand, they're not going to be perfect, you're going to have some differences, and you're not perfect either. And number 3, if it can be broken, it can be fixed. Marriages are work. There's kids, houses, jobs, money. You're always going to have to work on a multiplicity of issues. You're going to have to deal with things like working on your communication, working on your sexual relationship, intimacy, trust, connection, mutual respect and consideration. You'll need to work on these all the time. And there are times where things will be broken, but you can always fix them. And it's going to take work, support, commitment, and sometimes even professional help. So think about something like intimacy. So if you think your intimacy in your relationship is broken, how do you fix that? Well, you can work on things like just even a passing glance, a hug, a kiss, each and every day. And it may seem like work, and that sounds kind of silly, but it's something you need to make a commitment to embrace and pursue, and make sure you fix that. Number 4, be engaged, be present. Be totally committed to your family and your kids, your wife and your husband. Establish time for only family time. No phone, no checking out during dinner or family time. Be present, figuratively and literally. What I mean by that is be involved in the extracurricular activities and after-school activities, religion, vacation, all of those sorts of things. If your kids are engaged in something like riding horses, or they decide they like to ride bikes, go to the horseback riding lessons with them. Get a bike yourself. If they like to sing, you sing too. And it doesn't matter how terrible you are at it. Make sure you're engaged. Again, and by that I mean figuratively and literally. Number 5, sometimes it's more about what you don't say. Be in tune with your spouse and try to put yourself in their shoes. Not just in the words that you use, but in perception. Try to figure out when you're addressing them. Try to gauge what's their perception, and that can be hard. If you suspect or even know that sometimes something you're going to say is going to be a trigger, that's going to be insulting to them, or it's going to upset them, why say it? You have to ask yourself, why am I telling this person this? Does it have a useful purpose? And if you don't, if it's not something that has a useful purpose, don't say it. Keep it to yourself and secretly hope that they do the same for you. And number 6, you can only change yourself. Do the things you know you need to do to treat your husband or wife well. See how they react when you stop seeking to change them or your relationship. Just change you and your person and the things that you do and you say. It's not a scorecard. You can't look at it like, well, if I do X for them, they need to do Y for me. Again, you have to work on the things you can do. It's no win or lose, just gradual improvement in your connection with your spouse. Number 7, life is all about balance. And when I say balance, you want to work on that perfect balance between your independent life and your married life. You want to make sure that you have your own career, your own money, you chase your own dreams, you have your own friends and interests and support system and family. And obviously counterbalance that with improvement and doing all the things you can to make your marital relationship as strong as possible. Number 8, certain tasks should never be delegated. Money, kids, house. Can you trade doing the lawn for doing the dishes or taking care of the laundry? Of course you can. But bear in mind, on the major topics, if you're the only person working and they're the only person taking care of the kids, you're giving away things, you're giving away topics that the two of you can relate to each other on. So if you don't know anything about what it's like to go out and work and pay the bills, you can't share that with your spouse. Similarly, if they know nothing about what it's like to care for the kids each and every day, it's another topic that you just can't relate to each other on. And what that will lead to, if you have more topics to relate upon, you'll be speaking the same language. You'll be saying the same things on the big issues in life. Number 9, say what you mean and mean what you say. Let your spouse know what your likes and dislikes are. Let them know what makes you happy. Share dreams and fears and hopes. Be open, frank, and honest with your spouse about everything from parenting to money to child rearing, religion, sex, everything. Don't let that first conversation where you're going to be brutally honest with your spouse be the one where you say you want a divorce. Don't wait for that. Be open and honest now. And number 10, don't be afraid to say no to everyone else but your spouse. Say no to your boss. Say no to your kids. Say no to your in-laws. Say no to your coworkers. You and your spouse's relationship needs to be put first sometimes. And in fact, a lot of the times it does. So don't be afraid to say, I'm not going to that family gathering. Or say, we're not doing Chuck E. Cheese tonight. Or I'm not working overtime. We need to regularly put ourselves and our relationships in a strong marriage first. So there you have it, a bit of a fringe topic. The best advice I can give you coming from a divorce lawyer who's been handling divorces and dealing with broken relationships and broken marriages for over 20 years. I hope this helps. And again, bear in mind, this is not an all-inclusive list. This is something that you can work on together, and you'll find some of these topics are relatable for you, and others you might reach out to additional expertise to make sure that you're working on your relationship, you're creating that balance, you're living your best independent life, and you're doing everything you can now before you're mired in a divorce to make sure that you have the strongest marital relationship that's possible. And I think what we can walk away from this from above all else is, and this really comes from a wedding that I just attended this past weekend where the rabbi said, you know what? Anything that's broken can be fixed. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in to episode number 13. That's the best advice I can give you about marriage. If you have a question you'd like to hear us answer on the podcast, don't hesitate to send it to divorcestoriespodcast@gmail.com. And look, if you're working through your relationships, and even if you're not mired in a divorce and you just want a referral to a good marriage counselor, locally or otherwise, don't hesitate to reach out to us at drvetranolaw.com. drvetranolaw.com. Thanks again for tuning in. We'll see you again next time.